G'day guys, Clayton from Workbench Hobbies here with a special little out and about today down in Melbourne on a little bit of business, a little bit of catching up with friends, and I'm lucky enough to have been asked onto the On the Bench podcast to have a bit of a chat, bit of a catch up, meet the boys, have a bit of fun, and then maybe ask them a few questions and have a couple of beers afterwards. So yeah, enjoy the ride. See you soon.
I had Julian mention he's re-releasing their 48-scale stripping breeze Seafire Mark 7C. The kit is now available for purchase at the Airfix website.
Alright, thought we'd have a bit of fun and ask the boys from On the Bench podcast some questions. We've got some standard questions for everyone.
There are no stupid questions, just stupid people.
And I've got some random questions that you guys will draw.
Ooh,
okay, so
sounds good.
Little bit interesting. Yeah. So what we'll do, I'll put the questions on the table and I'll let you all pick at them.
Sure.
All right. 2 questions each.
Okay.
Two questions each.
Can you count for 2, Julian?
Yes.
Just making sure.
It's one of my first skills.
All right, Dave. Question number 1.
Question number 1. If you could teach your younger self one modelling skill, what would that be? To finish your models. To actually finish the darn things. No, I'm pretty good at finishing the models, I guess. It's, gee, what skill? Tracks. I'm hopeless at doing tracks. I love doing individual links, but I'm hopeless at the actual painting and getting the metal side of it right. So that's what I'd really like to learn how to do.
Okay. So we're going to teach your younger self tracks.
Yes, we are, apparently.
Right.
Okay, Julian, what do you got?
All right, so the question is, what's the coolest thing that has happened to you as a result of doing the podcast? Ooh, that's probably going to the States for US Nationals. That was an unreal experience. I didn't see as much as it because I was a little bit sick at the time, but because plane and stuff, but just a sheer number of models and seeing the different way that the Americans do things, that was pretty interesting. They're really into their raffles.
Okay.
It was obsession
I love
level.
a raffle.
No, this was on a different level.
Right.
But not just any raffle ticket.
Did you enter any?
No, I didn't.
Right.
Because I mean, like, I was very selective of like what I knew I only had so much space, and I didn't even end up buying anything when I was there because I was like,
shameful.
Well, I mean, even when I went to Japan, like I was very selective of like, this is how much space I got. I've only got. What can I get here that I can't get at home? I ended up buying lots of tools, so I didn't buy anything in the States.
You're a sensible man, Julian.
Yeah.
A sensible man. So the coolest thing was the opportunity to travel.
Yeah, I would not have done that had I not been on this podcast.
Absolutely, it's awesome.
So like, as being out there, part of the community, connecting with people online, that's what made me take the trip.
Beautiful. Nice. Right. Squaring it up.
All right.
Righto, Ian, what do you got?
Okay, if you didn't build models, how would you fill in your time? Well, for me, probably reading, playing video games, probably getting outdoors more and getting more vitamin D.
So what you're saying is modelling is impacting your health?
No. My mental health, maybe, yeah. But no, it's without modelling, because it's such a vast part of my life, I'd have to find something totally different to do. And I don't mind reading, so I'd just probably end up reading more maybe watching TV more, being a real lazy bum.
Nice. So thank God you've got modelling.
Thank God I've got modelling,
Beautiful.
because it's a good way to make sure you don't get Alzheimer's.
I like it.
Because you're busy, you're using your brain and your fingers all the time.
That's a guarantee.
It
I won't
is.
get Alzheimer's.
Well, not guaranteed, but it helps.
Come on, make a sweeping statement.
No, I'm not going to make it. No way.
All
All right, Dave. Question 2.
Question 2, and opening up the envelope, and it says, is it a burden being the most gorgeous podcaster? No, sorry, it's a wrong one.
That was going to be in the
It
individual
was going to be
questions.
individual questions, yes. How many hours a week do you spend modelling? Ooh, that varies.
Now I'll allow
I'll allow it.
prepping for
Doing the podcast, as well?
all that
Okay.
sort of stuff. Anything modelling related. What do you reckon you spend a week?
Probably about 4 to 5 hours a week, I reckon. And it's pretty tough with my job. Sometimes I can have lots of spare time, and other times I can have like none whatsoever. So yeah, average it out. To average it out, I reckon about 4 hours a week, 5 hours a week. Yeah,
Lightweight.
yeah, very lightweight. I know.
Nice.
I know.
When I was writing these questions, my wife looked at me and she said, "How long do you reckon you spend?" I reckon it's 25 hours.
Yeah, well, I've got, let me see, 7 sons and 8 grandkids. So I've got things cut out for me. Oh well.
Cool.
Yeah, so my next question is, if you could improve one thing in modelling, what would it be? That's a really hard question. Improve one thing in modelling?
Yeah, that's actually written incorrectly, so I'll be having a word to my wife about that one. I had to get her to write it because my handwriting's so bad it'd be illegible.
Okay.
Improve one thing with your modelling,
Ah,
rather than modelling
improve one thing with
your
my
modelling. What would you like to improve?
Oh, if I could just, wish and gain the skills, is that what you mean?
Yes, correct.
Oh, that's easily. That would be weathering. Because I just, by the time, the reason why my weathering is so weak is because it's something that comes at the very end of the build.
Yep.
And a lot of my builds, like by the time I get to the point where I finish painting and getting it all together to the point where it looks like a model, I'm spent. I want to move on to new projects. All the stuff on the shelves is just calling out to me saying, "Oh, I want to be built next." And it's like, well, I could crack open that new one right now, or I could put mud and stuff on this one. So.
That's where all the joy comes, Julian, is the mud and stuff.
Yeah, but I don't get that much joy from it.
Maybe if you're a bit more comfortable with it, you'd be more joyous.
I go through different phases, like where I just get obsessed with trying to nail down a certain technique. And right now, that technique is, just perfect paint jobs on cars. In the past, it's like, obviously, I went through the stages of like getting down, cleaning up parts. Then there was, how do you super glue effectively so that you can't see where I've glued it on. Things like rigging, photo etch, all of those were phases that I had to go through. And right now it's, I did aircraft and armor for a long time, and the bar is fairly low for a lot of that when it comes to airbrush work, but cars are really unforgiving. Really, really unforgiving.
Well, this is why you have to up your weathering game.
Well, yeah, the crossover point would be to do a rally car.
Rally car, perfect.
Yeah.
Righto, Ian.
All right, if you could pick one model show or museum around the world to go to, what would it be? Well, honestly, last year I went to the National Air and Space Museum, which was amazing. Absolutely amazing. Went to the IPMS Nationals, absolutely amazing. Well, that just leaves, basically, Scale Model Challenge would be great to go to in Europe. For a museum, probably Imperial War Museum.
Nice.
And that would be, that'd be pretty much it. Mind you, there's a lot more, but for the two main ones that come across, those two I'd love to go to.
Beautiful. Okay, Dave.
Yep.
Yes or no? Keep them short. One words. What is your worst modelling habit?
Yes. You said yes or no, keep it short.
What's your favourite tool?
Scalpel.
What's your paint of choice?
SMS paints, of
Oh,
course.
of course, naturally. What's your grail kit?
My grail kit.
What's the kit that you...
Oh, yeah. The 1/72 scale Dragon Saturn rocket.
Very nice. First kit you ever built?
Oh, some FX kit.
Okay. How many kits in the stash?
200.
Favourite model you ever made?
Horizon Mercury rocket.
Whose work inspires you the most?
It's a guy called Clayton.
No.
That's just a load of crap.
Gee, I don't know. A range of people. Or my peers.
Okay, that'll do. I'll let you get away with that.
Thanks.
Is modelling an art?
Sometimes.
What do you hope to achieve by being on this podcast?
I hope that we can bring change to just one individual, whichever way that is and whatever that is for that person. We can make it a bit better for them.
Beautiful. All right, Julian, now you're in the driver's seat.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. What's your worst modelling habit?
My worst modelling habit? Skimping on weathering. I just skip it at the end.
Fair call. What's your favourite tool?
My favourite tool? That's a hard one. It's either the knife, but at the moment it's my airbrush. That's a pistol grip and just lays down loads of paint.
Nice. And speaking of paint, you can't pick SMS. What's your paint of choice? Other than SMS, of course.
Probably MRP.
What's your Grail kit?
Oh, Grail kit. I own my Grail kit. It's the Tamiya Datsun 240Z.
Nice. First kit you ever built?
First kit I ever built was the Monogram 48 scale P38J.
How many kits in your stash?
Less than 50.
That's embarrassing, Julian.
I like to keep
That's
it
not
nice
a
and
stash.
small. I like to keep it small.
Favourite model you ever made?
Favorite model I've ever made? Oh, probably the Hasegawa Mazda Cosmo that I did last year.
Nice. Whose work inspires you the most?
Kenji's Car Model Diary, if you know him from YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
That guy's a phenomenal modeler.
Is modelling art?
I think about 50%.
What do you hope to achieve by being on the podcast?
I'll just spend time with friends.
Beautiful. Ian.
Yes.
Last in the seat.
Mm-hmm.
So you've had a real good listen to these questions,
I have,
the other
yes.
boys. So I want good answers here.
Mm-hmm.
thoughtful answers. Yep. Here we go. What's your worst modelling habit?
Impatience.
That's a bad one. What's your favourite tool?
The humble toothpick.
Your paint of choice other than SMS, of course.
Guns Aqueous.
What's your Grail kit?
Oh, Grail kit. Well, I think a lot of my kits are Grail kits. The Yorktown in 1/350, 1/350 scale, fully detailed. That's CV10, of course, not their CV5.
Of course.
Another one which I'm really glad, which I really should actually build, is my Forge World Warhound Titan.
Say what now?
Beautiful. First kit you ever built?
FX 1400 or 1600 scale USS Exeter, I think it was.
How many kits in your stash?
Oh, geez, be hundreds. Yeah, a lot. A heck of a lot. More than I should have. More than I will ever build.
It's not important. Favourite model you've ever made?
Favourite model? One I really enjoyed was the Copper State Models Canadian machine gun carrier. That was just a great little kit to build.
Nice. Whose work inspires you the most?
Oh, actually, so someone who I really admire and aspire to get as good as one day would be Ben Flood when it comes to figure painting.
Yep. Is modelling art?
Yeah.
And what do you hope to achieve by being on this podcast?
World domination.
Yeah, well, that's achievable. I think it's within reach. So one last one for Dave. When the podcast hits its peak, what does that look like?
Well, Is there ever going to be a peak, man? Because always the next sort of hill to climb over. I don't know what the peak is or what it looks like. I guess we're just going to keep doing this as long as it's fun for us to do, as long as we're getting the interaction back with the audience. So it'll be as long as a piece of string.
Beautiful. Well, thanks for having me, boys.
No
Appreciate
worries.
it.
Been great having you here.
Thanks for answering the questions and whatnot. And yeah, I'll put a little video together and see how we go.
So we'll be on YouTube.
I don't know why you guys don't do it yourselves. With the recording session over, it was time to make the short journey to the boys' local hobby store and weather the storm of Julian trying to talk me into building a model of a Japanese sports car. A quick visit to the local bottle shop and back to Ian's place to check out the build room and stash.
Yeah, this is a proper stash, right? The kids, all the army kids.
Yeah. As well as inspect a couple of models, notably his Musaru Cup entry. It came as a shock when he announced he was going to pull out his Shikaku.
He took it out.
But our panic soon subsided once we realised he was talking about a model.
Fuji 1:350 scale Imperial Japanese Navy Shikaku, built as it was set up for December 10th, 1941.
This is the fabled model.
Yes, one that cost me so much money to build.
Thank you again to the boys from On the Bench for having me. It was a real thrill and such a memorable day. Be sure to check out the podcast when you can. Oh yeah, and thank you to the selfish f***wit in front of me on the plane ride home. Until next time, see you soon.